Hey guys, it's Mark with Hawkeye Ordnance. We're back here at the Forest Lake Sportsman's Club. Tonight is one of our Hawkeye Ignite events. For those of you that have been watching the Facebook, you'll know that we're also putting on some matches now, which is very, very cool. So what you see behind you is a stage that we do every week here at our Wednesday night series called The Transition. There's an opportunity for guys to use 2 guns to engage 6 targets in a simple array, but more to practice getting from one gun to the next as fast as possible. So this is the beginning of a series of videos that I've been promising for a little bit around some pretty significant changes I've made with my equipment since the guns and gear video we did roughly 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So thank you all so much for supporting the channel, and I hope you like what we've got coming up for you. It's going to be a little different. So about 14 months ago, I had a pretty major malfunction with my rifle, and it looked a little like this. So it turns out that was related to some ammunition that I had purchased, and I don't want to talk too much about it other than to say the company that made the ammunition was incredibly gracious and replaced my rifle free of charge, which was very, very, very cool of them. So at that time, I had some opportunities to take a look at everything I was doing and try to make some decisions around whether I was going to try to really make a go at becoming a top competitor, which I am not yet by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm making my way up a point or two at a time. So when the rifle went down, I looked around at all the opportunities around me and had to make a decision about a new gun. I had a check I could write, but what I really wanted to do was also take a look at everything. So everything was out on the table, everything was suspect. I wanted to go through all my gear and make some decisions around my equipment based on what I liked to do best. So when I spend my money, or when I'm blessed enough to have a sponsor send me to a match, I like to go to the big terrain style matches. So most of my decision making around equipment is based on longer stages, with long range shooting, heavy on the shotgun, heavy on the pistol, you know, really everything, but I was looking for equipment that would really fill that role well. When my gun went down, it was about 10 days before the USPSA Multi-Gun Nationals in 2015. And so I was kind of up the creek without a paddle, and the guys at JP Enterprises jumped right in and gave me a gun to take out and then essentially helped me purchase a new rifle. So it was very clear what I was going to buy, and we're going to talk a little bit about my rifle in a second, but what I want to get at is this. And this is going to go for all the videos we're about to make, and it's kind of a new philosophy of mine. It's a change from 3 years ago when I was just like, get some gear, man, get out here and play. If you already have a pistol, a rifle, a shotgun, a safe holster, a good attitude, and some humility, come and play. That will never change. But if you want to be competitive, there are some minimum requirements for equipment really to get you there. Now, it's not to say that there are guys that aren't out here just killing it on cheap gear. Yeah, actually it is. It is to say that. I think that there's some science behind some of the things that we do. You know, my rifle is not a fighting rifle. It is set up for one job and one job only, and that is to shoot these games. So I really like some of the purpose-built guns we've seen in the last few years that cover all the minimums. The Armalite's probably my favorite, not to say that it's the best. The Colt's got a great gun. Stag had one if they ever come back. I know Nordic Components is now making a rifle. I haven't shot that one. So there's all these really good guns out there that meet the basics, and they all run between 15 and about 1,800 bucks, guys. And there's just no getting around that. They have match grade barrels. They have compensators. They generally have some sort of a light and bolt carrier system and a tunable gas system that allows them to run at the lowest gas level possible in order to make the gun super soft shooting and super easy to wield for these games, and that's what we're looking for. So just going to jump in real quick here. This is my rifle. It's a JP-15. For those of you who like to send me letters on safety consciousness, we're on a closed range, and we've got a bagged and tagged rifle, so we're good to go. So why did I go with the JP? Well, I'll be totally honest with you. Their customer service when I had a problem was bar none. Those guys jumped right in. They had a rifle in my hands that day for me to go out and shoot. Obviously, I have some privileges. Not everybody has, but I didn't get the sense they were doing that for any other reason than that's just the company they are. So it was a no-brainer for me that I was going to buy one of these guns. And let's just assume for a second I could have anything I wanted, which isn't entirely true. But what I decided to go with was the standard JP-15 upper and lower set. This is their 18-inch match grade rifle. This gun runs, guys, around $2,100 or $2,200. So what are you getting between the Armalite 15 and the $2,100 JP? And there's a couple of real basic things, and it's real simple math. There's a silent capture recoil system in here, which I will not shoot without if I can avoid it. There is an incredibly hardened and lightened bolt carrier group in here. There's a few other little bonuses. You get this thermal dissipator, which I swear I thought was a gimmick until I had one. And then it's little things. It's look and fit and finish. You know, I don't know how well you can see this, but they blend their muzzle brake, so you can hardly tell that it's a separate piece from the barrel, even though it is. So it's all this little bits and bobs that make these things really cool. Now I'm demoing some new gear on this this new Hyperfire trigger, which I'm going to shoot for the first time tonight. And if you look closely, you might see some gear on here that isn't on the marketplace yet. But anyway, and then I've topped this with Vortex glass. Now I do not shoot for JP. I do shoot in capacity for Vortex. I'm an ambassador of their product, and I'm really grateful to them for that. Thank you, all you guys at Vortex. So what did I end up with here? I ended up with a very soft shooting Ferrari, right? The gun runs incredibly fast, incredibly smooth. The handling characteristics are bar none. I mean, there's nothing else out there I've ever shot that's better than this. There's some guns that are as good, but fit and finish and all of that come together. This was the rifle I was looking for. Now, I have made a few mods. I put on this loose stock, which you've seen a video of in the past. Whether this will survive, I don't know. I've got some interest in some other products I'm going to look at, but it's been very, very, very good. I'm not using much of the adjustability, and so that makes me wonder if I'm carrying around extra stuff I don't need. The silent capture spring system in the buffer here is probably the most important piece of gear to me. I do not like the rasp of the rifle when I'm competing, and I've also found that, and you'll see more of this when we talk about pistols, but every time you reduce machine grind, grittiness, all that stuff, all those little, you know, steel on steel noises or metal on metal noises, the more of those you can reduce, the softer the gun. Maybe it doesn't shoot any softer, but I'll tell you, there's a sense that the gun is running really smooth. I mean, when you rack this gun, there is absolutely no rasp, there is no spring noise, there's no nothing. It's very, very, very smooth, and it instills confidence. Up here in the fire control, I've used the JP-15 or JP standard trigger for years, and I loved it. This is Hyperfire's new Eclipse. We're going to be talking about that after we get back from Ironman. I had done a little extended magazine release because I've got kind of short fingers, so for me this was a perfect index for dropping my magazine. It is ambidextrous safety, although I hardly ever use it. Then we get up into the sort of the guts of the gun here. The lightened bolt carrier that JP does is, I think you'll find it in an awful lot of competitors' guns, even if they're shooting something else. It is kind of the gold standard in my estimation. There's lots of good ones out there, but this one has always worked for me, and it's never failed me. In fact, it was this bolt carrier that was in the rifle that exploded, and after the sort of autopsy on the gun, the bolt carrier, the quality of the bolt carrier is one of the reasons that I didn't lose any fingers or, you know, something shot in my arm. So you'll probably always see me riding a JP bolt carrier group as long as they make them. All right, so then we get down the line here a little bit and we talk about this. Let's go with the Handguard first. So the Handguard on this is their new design, and I always had complaints about JP's old Handguards at the shop. A lot of guys loved it, and they were fanboys of JP, and so anything that they saw they liked. I found it to be heavy and unwieldy, and I didn't like the way it felt in my hand. So then when this new one came out, and I'll have to fly in some information on this and what it's called and everything so you can find it. It's much, much lighter. It's got this great knurled finish on it. It makes it extremely tough and easy to grip. I've jammed this thing in all kinds of rocks, all kinds of funky positions at Blue Ridge, and it's held up great. It's getting a little bit dinged up, but you know what? That's what happens with these guns. So underneath the Handguard is this incredible match grade barrel. Now I selected an 18, and I keep talking smack about wanting to have a 14.5-inch upper built for this gun because in my mind, in these little short bays like the one I'm in right now, it'd be awesome to have this super wieldy gun, but so far I haven't really seen that it hasn't really, you know, hindered me at all, and it gives me some significant level of confidence when I'm shooting long range. Now I know for a fact that a 14.5 will do a lot of what the 18 will do. I've seen it and I've shot it myself, but you know, half of this stuff is in your head, guys, and in my mind, if it makes me think I'm going to connect at 400 meters, then I'm going to run it. It's that simple. So underneath this is an adjustable gas system, which I have hardly played. They tuned it up for me, and it's been great. And then this thermal dissipator, which, I mean, obviously the first thing you notice about it is it's pretty badass. They make this in blue, red, now there's a gold, there's a silver, and a black. Take a look at that in there. So conceptually what this is doing is pulling heat away from the barrel so that it's having a chance to recover and cool faster and more evenly. I totally and completely thought this was a gimmick, guys, until I had a chance to play with it. And I'll be honest with you, even when I've run, you know, 2 like 40 round magazines through this thing in a long course of fire, there's never been any heat from me in my hand over the Handguard here. And from what I can tell, and I'm no scientist, the barrel seems to recover incredibly fast and gives me accurate shots time after time. So that's my gun. Now, I will say, this is not in everybody's price point, and I get that. If you were to buy the Armalite at, like, let's just say $1,500, I'm just using that one, guys, because I know a lot about it. So there's other great guns. Please don't get all butthurt about the fact that I didn't say Colt or whatever. That's just a really solid rifle that's come out in the last year, and it's about $1,500. So it's an easy discussion to get from there to here, frankly. And so silent capture spring system is about $1.25. Now we're at 16.25. The bolt carrier group, I believe, is right around 300. So now we're at what, you know, 1950, something along those lines. And then we have all, that's not including some of these other really nice features that are in this gun. And so it really quickly, just by switching out some of these really basic parts, you're getting to that $2,000 price range. So it might be worth looking at going there in the first place. So obviously not everybody can afford it, and I get that. And I'm not saying that you can't be competitive without a $2,000 gun. That really isn't the point of this conversation. What I'm really kind of getting at the end of the day is if you look at what I've spent, even with the help I get over the last 3 years on guns, and you total up the cost of where I started to here, it would have been far, far cheaper for me to just go and buy this gun. And then I'd have everything I needed. Now, I wouldn't have learned any lessons. I wouldn't have felt any of that pain. And maybe some of that was really necessary for me to appreciate what I have now. But if I can help you avoid that, that would be what I would do. So what I'm kind of advocating these days, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more with the shotgun, and it's going to be very, very poignant with the pistols, is if you got guns already, save up and get the best replacement possible when you do change. So if you're shooting, in this case, you know, a standard like I was, the SIG M400, don't go M400. And if you really want the JP Armalite and then JP, just save up the $500 and go all the way to JP. With these guns, there's some hedge. You can make some changes along the way that'll make them better, and so it's not quite as pronounced with the rifle, but you're really going to see it in the shotgun and especially the pistol videos. So if you don't have a gun, let's say you've got a great pistol and a great shotgun, you're really happy and you need a rifle, again, that's when you're gonna have to make a decision. If it's gonna stop you from playing, maybe it's worth the middle ground. But if you can do it, I really highly recommend. This game only gets faster and more difficult every single year, sometimes month to month. Watch, you know, if you don't believe me, go look at the evolution of shotgun loading. It's in 3 years we've gone from traditional loading to putting 4, and someone's out there probably grabbing the Ocho, in some basement somewhere right now. It's gonna come out and change the world, who knows? So anyhow, guys, I hope you found this informative. I'll get some more pictures of my rifle up that you can take a look at. And if you have questions, please message us on either our Facebook page or on our YouTube page down below in the notes. We really, really do appreciate everything you guys have done for us. We got a bunch of great videos coming out. I hope you dig them. And we'll see you on the next one. So thanks so much, guys, and God bless.